Whipston. It is a shockingly cold stone floor that enters into your mind first when you thought it was eternally blank. You had already lived in eternal darkness, but a new veil came over you. Something you had never felt before, a stillness, yet a endless motion, like your head was spinning off somewhere, yet you couldn't feel or understand what was happening. And a inky blackness darker than the blindness filling your eyes ever was took you over.
Am I still tied up?
No. From what you can tell, your whips are where they always should be, holstered away.
Do I sense anything around me, or my senses are fucked? Which one?
It's not so much you sense nothing. It's like with your extra senses, it feels as though you can maybe really only sense the 10 feet around you. This whole place is throwing you off as there's almost this fourth dimensional move happening as you feel as if this whole world is spinning, but it's stationary. The thing that grabs your attention is a odd, faint bubbling that seems to be popping and moving, and it's coming from behind you, behind your right ear.
Behind my right ear. What would happen if I would whip it?
That's the point. Try it. Do you try to wield your whip and whip?
Yes, sure, I'll wield my whip and whip.
I wield my whip and whip. And with your attempt, you quickly turn around with a flurry, going off into a fantastic flowing attack where you feel like you've done everything right, whipping straight forward, only to realize your hand is empty on the final flourish. And standing in front of you is a elderly, ancient-looking crustacean wearing a blue fabric cloth around like a scarf, and whose mouth has bubbles leaking out of it and falling to the ground.
As in, the crab is falling to the ground, or
no, the
just
bubbles. This is like a Master Roshi-sized crab with bubbles that almost act like a pseudo beard.
I've seen weirder stuff.
The odd thing for you is when you turn and you give him your attention, that new darkness that filled your eyes is not evaporated, but there is a candle pushing through it, a tiny flickering light that creates this gradient of vision. Since you have had that demon take your eyes, you had never seen anything that even remotely acted like this through your eyes. As you can see a burning inferno inside of a vessel of glass that looks like it's on the verge of shattering, with these convex curves, and it almost looks like a shell itself ornate. Thousands of little tubes and rucking little chambers, like a almost like a brass instrument made of glass inside of this creature's chest, creating this light that is giving you vision for the first time.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, God.
How are you? And who are you? It is hard to make out, but through the bubblings of this crab, almost like it's mimicking speech in syllables rather than truly speaking it, it seems to be asking, how are you? And who are you?
I wish I knew myself. I'm not in talk, I'm just trying to give my distance from the crab.
Are you feeling around the room? Are you...
I'm trying to find a way out of this room, hence also moving backwards.
You're moving backwards. You're trying to get a sense of what's going on here. You can see this crab is inspecting you, looking you up and down. Almost, give me a sense motive as you can see he approaches. What was your life like before the demon took your eyes, Whipston?
He was a carpenter.
Man that works hard. Yet I see, after a great loss, you had changed. Are you capable of change again?
What is this change?
When I look at you, I see the heart of a man that just wants to live, but it is wrapped in ravenous evil, a consumptive evil that will take you down, and has taken you down. Can we purify, burn you hotter to get this darkness from you? Or do you want to have it consume you?
I would prefer not to burn. Thank you for the offer.
Burning is what you do to refine. What do you do with a metal ore, boy?
You heat it up.
You smelt it, burn the impurities out, create something pure.
You could feel and sense his body as it approaches one of the walls, and he can put his hand on it. Your sense motive from earlier, you are very unsure of what the fuck to make of this crab man, but give me a perception check as you watch his hand touch, or sense his hand touch that wall. Oh my god. Your rolls are against you. Whipston, there is something unsettling about this crab. Your gut begins to turn. You feel and see his hand touch this wall. This man's burning chest is enough to give you this vision, and you feel like it's like looking at a man photoshopped into a picture. He does not look like he should be there. He does not look like he's actually part of this world you're a part of right now. Do you wish to move forward or backwards, Whipston?
Depends on the situation.
Come see what moving backwards looks like.
And you can see this claw guiding you to come closer to him.
So we have to approach the wall specifically? Or is he looking at the window?
He's beckoning you to the wall to look out the window. But if you want, you can keep your distance and look out the window.
I'm keeping my distance from that crab.
I ain't going anywhere near that fucking crab. And when you look out the window, Whipston, I need you to understand what anyone else would see is a small yellow light coming towards you with these yellow tendrils of power whipping around. But that's not what Whipston sees. You see the tiniest little fraction of a yellow light, but it is like looking at a light bulb being turned on in front of the sun, as what you see behind it is a infinitely expanding void of darkness engulfing this yellow light, making it seem as though it is merely a pinprick, a tiny, tiny speck moving towards you as this darkness seems static, but also never ending and moving forward. With your intelligence of a 9, I'm not sure what you were trying to parse, but it is above your pay grade, whatever it is. You stand out looking at this void, trying to make sense of it, this both purple and emptiness that is moving forward, yet standing still, yet twisting and turning, and you can almost vaguely, almost as if looking through a tornado itself, you swear you are seeing something look back at you. And it is not a giant purple eye. It is instead what looks like to be an orchestra, a gigantic organ-sized. I cannot explain to you the complexity. It looks like a Dr. Sue instrument of fucking glass and fire buried deep beneath this purple storm of shaking power. And this fire burns with a green, purple, blue, black, yellow, all the colors of the rainbow out underneath it, consuming itself inside of this gigantic, ornate glass vessel. And that is what you see when you stare out into the void. And I'm going to need a will save, because you feel something inside of your heart beginning to shake. Some part of you that's made of glass that is not holding itself together. Whipston, you can feel a hardness burning in your chest, like something is burning away the very essence of your being, as you can feel something shattering as you're staring out there.
I'm gonna CMB the crab and ask him to stop that.
Okay. Give me a CMB. You come rushing up to that crab. You grab him. You look at him. You stare him dead in the eyes. You chose to go backwards. And you feel this crab turn to air in your hands. And when you stare out that window, you can see that little yellow speck hidden behind this darkness begins to come out of it and become its own shining sun, blinding this new vision that you have. Now, instead of an inky blackness, all you see is a blinding white light that is filling all of your vision, and a beginning screech, like the sounds of 1,000 people screaming every moment merged into one and high-pitched to the point of making your ears bleed. But there's nothing coming out. These ears, this body you're in, feels like it's beginning to waver.
Was sense any safe place in this spaceship-looking thing? Can I hide inside the hut?
Yeah, if you want, you can go run inside that hut. The blinding white light in your eyes disappears the second you jump in there. Go ahead and give me a perception check when you jump in there.
Oh god, the crab's in there, isn't he?
The dice are not with you today, buddy. With a 12, the only thing you get a sense of when you jump in there is not, oh, thank goodness I'm safe. Like you're at two places at once, and that being in one of the places is actively destroying you. Like there's a part of your soul that enters someplace that it shouldn't be, and it feels like it begins to burn away. As you feel like you're in this hut, you can see your fingertips both going ethereal and smoke coming out from your palms as the literal essence of you seems to be burning itself away.
I'm looking at anything I can use for this, but I don't have anything. Can I roll any knowledge checks on this matter?
Yeah, roll any knowledge check you think might be relevant. I like seeing how you guys want to view this problem.
Knowledge nature roll.
Oh my god. Whipston, have we ever talked about why a demon took your eyes?
I mean, that was a reason. I sort of abused the Pathfinder 2 backstory of picking up the hammer and choosing a life of crime. Oh, since he was a carpenter, he picked up an evil hammer. Maybe it was possessed by a demon. That was the idea, I guess.
Whipston, yet not nat 20, is because the only reason you know what's happening to you is because it was the last thing your eyes ever saw. Your father was consumed for some dark magic, but now you feel like you yourself are also being consumed for something else. And it's at this point when you're in that cave, that little cubby, not sure what to do, a set of white eyes open around a purple set of brows.
Take my hand, and I will keep you safe.
Is there any object on the floor that I could use to break glass?
There are tons of seashells in this room.
I'm gonna grab a seashell and run to the window and try and break it.
Avoids this hand, knocking it aside. A small smirk coming on the bearded purple man as he disappears. As Whipston, you start banging on the window with this fossil, trying to shatter it. Banging and banging, feeling this rock begin to break and turn into pieces in your hands, the blood of these fossils cutting your hand, dripping down. But at the same time, you see that pinprick, this sun, getting ever closer, and you can feel this burning inside of you, like this endless heat is literally burning you paper wafer thin, as you feel like your skin is literally skin deep, as there is nothing beneath you besides that. It is where you see this yellow sun approaching, and you begin to notice the area around you beginning to fill with a streamless, like an endless stream of orcs. Endlessly, they come piling in. The room around you, you begin to feel like you're squeezed up against this window that you're trying to break. Completely fruitless as you slam your fists against the fucking glass, unable to break it. Whipston, you feel as though the final moments of what you understand yourself to be are right now. And it is yet again, you feel a tug on your cloak. Take my hand and you shall be safe.
Do I recognize any of the plants on the pillar?
I'll let your knowledge nature net check carry through. You recognize all of those as underwater plants.
Are any of them poisonous?
Yes, there's one over there called the purple. It looks like, basically it looks like hair on the ocean, but it is essentially something that you consume and it tears your insides apart, a almost instant death.
How many of them are there? Like, for only one person or for multiple people?
There's excess you could probably do, but multiple people is probably not something that matters in this context, unless you're trying to take an overdose. There's as much as you need. It takes like only a handful to kill someone.
Can I grab some and try and poison the yogurt trying to take my hand?
Yeah, you can definitely try. You can definitely try. Go ahead and give me a CMB check to try and force these plants into this creature's mouth, completely taking them aback, mind you.
It's bad, right? Okay.
A 26-17 on the die. You shove these hairs, these purple hairs, into his mouth. His eyes widen. Confusion enters his mind. Why are you doing? Whipston, you can feel yourself happy that you're shoving this into this man's face as that wafer thinness begins to evaporate. As first your legs and your feet go, and your hands that are shoving these fat fibers down into his gullet, down into his throat, making sure he eats it. He's eating it. You know he is, as you feel the very hand pushing it deeper into his mouth disappears as you are down to a bicep, a shoulder, and then you are just ahead. And you see across the way, just slightly out of your view, amongst this giant horde of orcs that are in this death zone, you watch as a man with a white hat with a red strap around it reaches down and shakes the hand of another purple ogre, like the one you see in front of you. And they both poof out of existence. As Whipston, you feel that wafer-thin head you have. And you feel nothing anymore.
So I'm finally at peace then?
Whipston is at peace. Well, that's not how I expected that to go. Not even remotely. All right, well.
Not this time.